This diagram shows a comparison between human anatomy and a computer's architecture. Think of the physical hardware as the bones and muscles, while the software acts as the mind providing the instructions. Zooming into the CPU block here, we see three core components working in a continuous loop. The arithmetic logic unit is the analytical left brain performing calculations. The control unit acts as the nervous system directing the flow of traffic. And the registers serve as your instant short-term memory for immediate tasks. But this logical setup is entirely useless on its own. To process calculations at the speeds we see today, machines had to undergo a massive physical evolution over several decades. In the 1940s, first-generation computers relied on massive heat-generating vacuum tubes, like the one shown here. By the 1970s, fourth-generation systems shrank that processing power down into tiny microprocessors. When competitive exams test this history, they often set a specific trap regarding the pioneers. Charles Babbage invented the mechanical analytical engine in 1837, making him the father of the computer. Do not confuse him with Alan Turing, who proposed the theoretical Turing machine in 1936, earning the title Father of Modern Computer Science. Knowing those historical pioneers secures easy points on test day. However, understanding exactly how modern machines manage and store data is where many candidates lose their footing. This diagram maps the computer's memory hierarchy. If we use a study room analogy, the hard drive at the bottom is a massive bookshelf. It holds everything, but it is slow to search. Moving up, RAM is your active disk space. Cache is an open notebook right in front of you, and the registers at the very tip are the thoughts currently in your head. Notice how RAM flashes red as volatile memory. The moment you cut the power, every piece of data on that disk vanishes completely. ROM, on the other hand, is non-volatile. It stays permanently locked, safeguarding the critical BIOS instructions required just to boot the machine up. Looking closely at the RAM tier, we see two types. Dynamic RAM, or DRAM, requires a constant refreshing cycle just to hold on to its data, making it cheaper but slightly slower. Static RAM, or SRAM, remains completely stable without that refresh cycle, making it fast enough to be used for cache memory. The rule of thumb for exams is simple. As data moves closer to the CPU, processing speed increases dramatically, but in exchange, you get strictly limited storage capacity and severe volatility. This flowchart illustrates a major communication gap. Humans write in high-level languages, using English-like syntax, but physical hardware only understands machine code, strict sequences of zeros and ones. To cross that barrier, we use translators. A compiler takes the entire program and translates it all at once into a massive block of binary. This makes the final execution incredibly fast, but it makes finding initial coding errors difficult. An interpreter takes a different approach. It translates the code one single line at a time. Because it pauses at every line, execution is slower overall, but it allows a programmer to catch and fix errors immediately. Without these specific translation methods acting as the intermediary, your software could never command the physical hardware to execute a single task. This diagram breaks down how data travels across different network topologies. Network devices are categorized by OSI layers. The hub sits at layer 1, the switch at layer 2, and the router at layer 3. A hub operates on the physical layer. It receives a data packet and blindly broadcasts it to every single connected device on the network. This causes massive congestion and offers very little security. Moving up to the data link layer, a switch is much more efficient. It targets specific hardware MAC addresses, sending data down an isolated path directly to the intended device. Finally, on the network layer, a router uses IP addresses. It reads the destination IP and determines the best path to send data across entirely different cities and outside networks. Your network efficiency depends entirely on which layer the device operates on. Higher layers mean smarter, more secure data routing. This nested diagram breaks down modern emerging tech. Artificial intelligence is the broad umbrella. Inside it is machine learning, where computers learn from data rather than strict programming. Within that sits deep learning, which leads us directly to large language models. Large language models rely on the transformer architecture to recognize patterns. Instead of thinking like a human, they process data into tokens and mathematically predict the next word in a sequence. Now, look at this comparison between classical and quantum computing. A classical bit flips strictly between a 0 and a 1. A qubit, however, can exist as both a 0 and a 1 simultaneously, thanks to a principle called superposition. When qubits undergo quantum entanglement, they become linked. A change to one qubit is instantly mirrored in the other, regardless of the physical distance separating them. Time for some active recall. Pause the video right now. Match the hub, the switch, and the router to their correct OSI layers. From the heat-generating vacuum tubes of the 1940s to microscopic entangled qubits, mastering these core hardware and software concepts gives you a distinct advantage on competitive exams.